Although I'm not much of a wrestling fan anymore, I did used to watch a bit back in the WWF Attitude Era. You know, when practically everyone used to watch it. Then I got tuned into ECW, and that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. What I'm getting to is that being considered a fan years ago meant that I had to get a few of the wrestling video games. Me and my friend Jairus played a metric shit ton of games, from the old Genesis Raw and Royal Rumble to the PS1 Warzone, Attitude, and SmackDown games. My brother spent, I think it was $60 on No Mercy, and although I didn't think it was as amazing as many people had considered it to be, I played my fair share of it, because it was the only wrestling game I owned for the N64 other than WCW Backstage Assault. And there was so much customization available that I didn't care. I spent hours creating that perfect wrestler in my head. But then we had come to the PS2. SmackDown games were still getting released at a steady rate, but then suddenly another game came onto my radar, Def Jam Vendetta. It was made by the same dudes who did No Mercy, so of course my interest was piqued a bit. I think Jairus was one that originally went out and bought it. We had a ton of fun with it. My biggest complaint was that there were very limited story mode, and if I recall, no creator wrestler. But with the over-the-top wrestling moves and the very cringeworthy finishers, I wanted more. That more came in the guise of Def Jam Fight for New York. It's a direct sequel to Vendetta, taking place immediately after the main villain D-Mob's defeat and subsequent arrest. As he's getting escorted away, a vehicle crashes into the police cruiser, and a mysterious person rescues D-Mob and springs him from custody. From here, you're given a police sketch artist, and this is where the game has you create your fighter. I really love this. It sets the mood perfectly to know that everything from here on out is essentially taking place in the hidden underground lifestyles. I guess I should pump the brakes a bit and explain something. If you don't know, Def Jam is a music label that primarily features rappers and hip-hop artists. So you're going to be fighting people like Flava Flav, Method Man, Busta Rhymes, Ludacris, Ice-T, and the ultimate villain, Snoop Dogg. Some of the rappers have different names for their characters, but most of them play themselves. It's a very interesting take on the fighting game genre, with something that is clearly picked up from Vendetta. The biggest difference between Vendetta and Fight for New York is the actual gameplay. Whereas Vendetta is a wrestling game through and through, Fight for New York is more of a gritty MMA-style game. Sure, there's a bit of wrestling if you choose that style for your fighter, but many of the moves are strikes, and many of the new game modes focus more on that kind of brawling. But really, that's why I found Fight for New York to be much more fun than Vendetta. That, and the story mode is actually fairly interesting. I won't spend any time on it because, strange to say for a fighting game, it's actually somewhat decent. The gameplay is fairly simple to follow. Most matches are one-on-one affairs. Once the bell rings, you pummel your opponent using strikes and grapples. Depending on your chosen fighting style, you will have different moves available to you. You can spend upgrade points on adding up to 2 additional fighting styles, and mixing these up determines what moves you have available. Grapples are all initiated the same way, and then pressing triangle or square along with the direction to perform a maneuver. From the start, you may be limited to 1 or 2 moves. There's no way to customize which attacks you get, which can be a bit of a downer. The only thing you can choose is your finishers, and you can actually purchase up to 4 of these to use at will. So, what styles do you get? There's kickboxing, wrestling, submission fighting, street fighting, and MMA. I started with submission fighting, which isn't the easiest one to use. However, this takes advantage of the limb system. In addition to the main health bars, each character has unseen life bars for the legs, arms, and head. By applying submissions, you can wear down the strength of the applicable limb. Once a submission like this is pulled off, the life bar of that limb will appear on the screen. If that bar depletes, the match is over. As for the regular life bar, you might see that there's 2 shades of green. When attacking enemies, you'll take off a larger chunk of the light green, but the darker green will also decrease a bit. That darker green is the maximum that the light green can regenerate to. So by constantly attacking your opponent, that dark green will keep chipping away, which means their life will get dangerously close to being red. Once it turns red, the opponent can be knocked out immediately by using a strong attack in your character's fighting style repertoire. For example, kickboxers get a strong clinching knee combo. Street fighters get a devastating haymaker, or just use a finisher and it's an immediate knockout if you start the finisher when the opponent is in the red. If it starts out green and the finisher has a few strikes that whittles it down to red, it will not count as an instant knockout. So how do you perform these special finishers? By doing well in the match, you can build up momentum. Once this bar is maxed, which is the one underneath your life bar, you can flip the right analog stick in any direction to taunt. This will activate Blazing mode. Now all you gotta do is a quick grapple, and then once again flick the right analog stick in any direction. Whatever direction you pick is the move you pull off. Most of these are extremely flashy, and some are just flat out crazy. Once you take out an opponent, you typically unlock their finishing move, in addition to the character itself, and sometimes even one of their songs. Now here's the thing, this game isn't easy. I thought it was more challenging on this go-around than my past playthroughs have been. Although I tried to mix up strikes and throws, I found a heavy strike offensive was my best bet. Sure, they get blocked easily, but occasionally I would mix in a quick submission attack to keep bugging my enemy. Yet there were times that no matter what I did, I couldn't get an attack through. Yet the enemy would be relentless, utterly destroying me. Some matches required a few restarts before I got anywhere. If you are struggling with fair fighting, there are a few other options. You can use the environment. Smashing an enemy against a wall or pillar and grappling them will cause a highly damaging attack. You can grab a weapon from one of the bystanders. Or you can just use the bystanders to take part in the fight. Sometimes they'll join in and grab your enemy and hold onto them while you throw in a cheap shot. In addition to simple one-on-one fights, there are some other interesting match types. You have one where you can destroy your opponent's SUV before they destroy yours. There's a 4-man battle royale. There's a subway match that's right out of Mortal Kombat 3. There's an Inferno match right from ECW. And the final battle takes place in a high-rise where you can kick Snoop Dogg out of the window to his death. Very cool. However, the novelty wears off, as 95% of the career mode is all basic battles. Only on rare occasion do you get to do something different. And in between each bout you get a million text messages or voicemails. Plus, many of it is just the trainers or shopkeepers telling you that there's new stuff available in their applicable store. The graphics of the game are pretty standard for the PS2 wrestling game. The characters look believable, blood is scattered on the more devastating strikes, and the moves all look fantastic. The sound is fairly typical fare as well. Generic thuds, strikes, and groans in pain. The soundtrack is all rap and hip-hop, which is definitely not one of my styles of music, so I didn't pay a lot of attention to it. Speaking of music, can you imagine if they did like a rock version of this game? Imagine that, Avenged Sevenfold versus Five Finger Death Punch. I would buy that right now. And there's one other last thing I want to mention. In the beginning of each match, the fighters will taunt each other. However, when fighting the Jamaicans, I couldn't understand what the hell they were saying. So to see what was worse accent-wise, a Jamaican or a Scot, I enlisted the help of my friend Johnny. Here's two of the Jamaicans' taunts.
This right here is for all me Jamaican brethren around the world.
You have big talk now, but you gonna cry like a baby when my friends say you. Are you all ready for this?
And now here's Johnny's taunts.
If you look up fat in the dictionary, there's a picture of Reaper in the bath trying to chase a pretzel. Reaper is the inventor of the nipple ripple test. Some say his nipples are still rippling to this day. Did you perchance catch the last lunar eclipse? It was not. Reaper put on a hat for his balding head. Going to punch you in the grandmother. I'm about to rock you like a hurricane.
To me, Johnny was more understandable. And that's Def Jam Fight for New York. It's still a fun game to this day to pick up and play a few rounds, especially if you have a few friends to play it with. The roster is large, there's a fairly sizable amount of arenas to fight in, and if you like this style of music, even better for you. If you purchase it expecting a wrestling style sequel to Vendetta, then you're going to be sorely disappointed though. But I still recommend it. Final score? 8 out of 10. This is Reaper. Happy fragging.
There was a scorpion, and he had to cross the river. So he rode in the back of a frog. The scorpion stung the frog. Then they both died. That was the story. Yes, I do hope this sporting event goes very well. I hope you win. No, I hope you win. Yes. Have you ever seen a grown man naked? I was asked to avoid swearing during these little clips. And I said, you are a grade A twat monkey. I am the creator of the divine dropkick. You are a bouquet of cocks swinging wildly in the wind. I was asked to avoid using the hard P, so I can only say I was pleased to participate in this participation, and the presentation will be... Well, I've lost it now, haven't I?